Um, Tonight, we'll be talking about the college ready mentality on our GCS spring kickoff. So we're getting near the end, everyone. We're getting near sending those seniors off to college in the fall. So we want to go ahead and prepare them mentally. I'll introduce myself. I'm Desire Spurgeon. I'm the college advisor at Dudley High School. And then some of my community partners are also on the line this evening. We have Sayes Guilford, GCS, CFNC, and then some of my other coworkers with the College Advising Corps, and I'll let everyone introduce themselves. But I just want to go over a few little, some of our webinar, our webinar, I don't know what to call it. Our webinar etiquette, that's what we call it. Just make sure again that you are muted, nothing that is inappropriate on the webinar, please, or we'll have to kick you out, unfortunately. So just stay muted on the call, and hopefully we can just make this a short, quick, sweet presentation for you all tonight. But other than that, we really have nothing else. Just if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself or save your questions at the end. So not during the presentation, but at the end, if you want to say it out loud, then we'll let you know when it's time for that Q&A. But if you have a burning question throughout the session, just drop it in the chat for us and we'll get back to you. So I'll just let my colleagues introduce themselves to you all, and we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, well, thank you. I am Warshay Downing from Say Yes Guilford, the Senior Director of Data and Post-Secondary Success. And so we're so thrilled to have each of you on this College Ready Mentality webinar tonight. And we also have Brandy. Brandy's going to introduce herself.
Yes, thank you all. My name is Brandy Kennedy, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Student Outreach and Post-Secondary Access. And thank you all with Say Yes Guilford, and thank you all again for joining tonight. We look forward to giving you some great information.
I think there's everyone that wants to present themselves tonight, so we're ready.
Yeah, and I think some people are still hopping on, so we'll just go ahead and get started. And this is going to be a recorded session posted on YouTube after, so I know that's a common question we get. All right. So getting ready during COVID-19, this is something we definitely wanted to just go ahead and start the presentation with, because it's something really popular still going on right now. So some things that we thought that you should consider right now in terms of getting ready right now with the pandemic still being a thing. If you're going to be planning to enroll in the fall, just do everything as you would or as their student checklist tells you to do. But if you are not certain about going in the fall, but you want to go in person soon, you can contact your institution to see if you can defer that enrollment for the spring semester. If you want to be on campus, but you aren't sure about the fall, see if you can defer for spring. Everything would apply the same. You're going to be starting that one semester late with that. You should also be scheduling some virtual tours or going to see the campus in person before you go in the fall, if you are comfortable with that option. I know some campuses have opened back up to the public, allowing students to go for tours. So if you haven't been able to see your college within the last year due to the pandemic, this may be a good time to try to go and check out that college now before you actually become a student there, so that way you can just get acclimated to the campus, walk around, just so it won't be so foreign or new to you when you actually get there. And then the last thing we thought you should start thinking about is just ensure that you know the protocol for your desired campus. So if you are going to be going there in the fall, each campus can do what they want to do. Everybody is not a one size fits all thing at all with the college campuses in terms of how they are planning to go back and what students are required to do with the pandemic still going on in the fall. So please make sure you know what the protocol is for your campus. Okay, so finalizing financial aid packages, we'll go ahead and move it on to that step, because this is a key part of going to college. You got to pay the money, right? So you must complete the financial aid process every year. This is something very important to note, because I know that FAFSA process that happened this October, that opened this October, is still going on. If you didn't do it, please do it. but you have to do that every year. So every year, October 1st, that FAFSA will open up for that next school year. So you will need to do it if you do plan to get those same grants. So same, you know, any of those awards, if they offered you any loans that you took, if you plan to get them every year, you need to do your FAFSA application every single year you're in college. So please don't forget, don't think, you know, just this one time you did it, it'll cover you for all the years, because it will not. So that's really the biggest thing. And also the second thing with that is make sure you're completed by the deadline. There are priority deadlines, and yes, the packages do differ by the priority deadlines. I have seen it with my own eyes. So please make sure you are doing it before that deadline, y'all. I want y'all to be able to get the maximum amount of money that you're entitled to. And if you do not do it, something as simple as doing it too late, or not too late, but even after the priority deadline that they've set, could be a difference between a couple $1,000s in free money. So please make sure you're doing it by the deadlines. You must go through and accept or decline any financial aid that the college has offered you. So it's pretty simple. You just log into that college account, go to the financial aid tab, and click accept awards. And if they offered you something, usually the free aid, it's already going to be accepted because it's free. So you don't have to do anything with that. But if it's loans and stuff like that, then you may have to accept or decline those. And maybe some scholarships. Maybe if you were offered, say, a scholarship from the institution that you had to send in a letter for, just make sure you're following the steps that you had to do for that. If you are marked for verification for your FAFSA, please make sure you are doing that verification, because you will not be able to get any aid if you do not complete those steps. And I wouldn't want this to be the reason why you're not able to get aid, because you did the FAFSA, you did all the steps, the application, and you thought you were good, but you were flagged for verification. And something as simple as not checking your email or looking at that college account and seeing the additional documentation that they just needed, which probably could have been the same stuff that you put on the FAFSA anyway. I wouldn't want that to be the cause for you to not get any aid. So please make sure that everything was turned in and that you receive your financial aid award. Complete your loan counseling if you're going to take out loans. So you do not have to take out loans. Please make sure you're getting with your counselor or your college advisor, and that you are going over your financial aid packages with them, or somebody who is just a little bit, a bit well versed and understands what those packages mean, because I wouldn't want you to take out loans unnecessarily. I know this happens sometimes where students don't understand the package. They just accept everything the school offered them, and they didn't need it, and now they have unnecessary debt. So please get with someone, even if it's the financial aid advisor at the college. They can walk you through step by step and make sure you understand each part of that package. But if you do, if once somebody explains it to you and they say, well, you do need the loans to meet the rest of your need, then you will have to do loan counseling. So make sure you complete that. And usually it's a master promissory note, or like a contract pretty much, that you have to sign and get turned in, stating that you understand what that loan means. And it should be done online this year, just because of what's going on with the pandemic. I'm not sure how it was before, because I haven't been through that personally myself through a loan counseling or anything, but it should be online. Work study. This is another big key to financial aid, and I would say definitely try to get work study if possible before loans, because this is another way where you get free money that you wouldn't have to go in debt for by just getting a job on campus. So you must be awarded this, first of all. So if work study was not in your package, but you indicated yes on your financial aid or on your FAFSA application, sometimes it depends on the institution. Some institutions do not have enough work study positions to even offer students. So what I tell my students to do is, if you do not see work study on your package, but you were Pell eligible and you indicated yes for work study, which I tell all of them too, so they all indicate yes, they want to be considered, call the financial aid office and see if you can get on their work studies wait list. Usually they have a work study wait list. They don't put it out there like that, but I know they got the wait list. So just call the financial aid office and see if you can get on their wait list if you want to be considered for that, a work study job, if they get enough positions opened up. Some campuses have enough work study and they'll just put it in your package. And then the last thing on this slide about finalizing your financial aid packages is just going to be about your family's income. So if this changes, because like I said, you do that FAFSA application every year. So if this changes over the year, say your parents got a raise or it was a drastic change in income, reach out to your college's financial aid office. Like, you know, you do that FAFSA, or you do the FAFSA for this year. Was prior years tax information from 2019. So if there's been a drastic change in income due to COVID, if there's been any like just significant change in that money, make sure you reach out to your college so you can get the maximum financial aid that you're entitled to, because they do take that into account. They want to make sure that they're meeting students' needs where they are right now, and not just, you know, just looking at them from 2 years ago. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out to them. They're usually really helpful when it comes to that. All right, so enrollment deposit. This is about housing. If you're planning to live on campus, this is for you. Or no, this is for anybody with an enrollment deposit. When you enroll into your institution, usually this is due by May 1. So starting off with the top here, your acceptance letter has those very important instructions on how to do an enrollment deposit. But I must add, some colleges do not have a deposit, like an actual payment. They just want you to go through the portal and click enroll by May 1. If they say no deposit is required, you're fine. I know some of my students were confused about that because they were like, well, I don't see a deposit on there, but it does vary by institution, y'all. And sometimes I will add, you can defer that payment as well. Say you got a full package, full financial aid, no loans, nothing like that. Sometimes that institution will go ahead and say, well, we can defer it and just charge it to your student account and just cover it with your full scholarship or cover it with all your Pell Grant or whatever. And usually that's if, like I said, you get full aid. So this can be paid on mail or online. A lot of stuff is online these days, and it usually is quicker. So I would recommend just go ahead and do it online if you can, but if not, you can mail it. So you must put down the deposit, again, only if your college requires it and only if they don't allow you to defer it. You must put down a deposit to save yourself a spot. So I'll give you an example. Say you go in on the portal and put in your, check the box for your intention to enroll on May 1st, but your school has a deposit and you don't pay that deposit. Your spot is not secured because it requires both the deposit and your intent to enroll to be secured. But if your college does not have a deposit, no payment, or they say, hey, we can defer it for you, you don't have to worry about the actual payment. You just want to go in and put in your intent to enroll. So just like I said, it varies by institution. Just make sure you know what your institution is asking of you. And yeah, so check out, well, it's usually due May 1st. That's National Decision Day for just about every university or college. But due to COVID, I know last year, I'm not sure what they're going to do this year, but last year, some colleges did allow an extension in terms of like decision. So they were like, oh, maybe we'll just take it May 15th or, end of May instead of that May 1st locking in that deposit. And they still save that student spot. But like I said, it varies by institution. So you will have to know what your institution is asking. Okay, so orientation and class registration follow shortly after that. So this is really stuff that takes place in the summer, y'all. June and July is usually when the actual orientation will happen, but typically they'll open that orientation like registration form or a little check link through their portal sooner than that, so that you can pick, what time or what frame you're going to do your orientation. But usually that actual orientation again takes place in the summer. So who attends the orientation? Parents and students attend. This is where you can network with classmates and get to know your campus, get to know campus resources, ask a lot of questions about campus, explore the campus, and then just a bunch of other stuff like that, like network, get to explore. This is usually class. So this is class of 2021 going in. For y'all's college class 2025, you'll be with all the rest of 2025 typically. And it probably will be virtual this year. It was virtual last year, I know. I'm not for sure this year, and I'm not sure for sure for every college, because again, they can do it how they want to do it per institution. And then with registration, this is going to be registering for your actual first semester of college courses. again, varies by institution. They all have different portals, different dates, different ways. So it's going to be up to you, the student, to check those emails when they say, hey, register, it's your time to register. You need to be on it, because those slots and those classes go quickly. So make sure you check out your options. You can look at the classes beforehand. You can look at, the colleges have catalogs. You don't have to wait till the day of to be like, oh, I need to find and see what classes I want to take. You can look at their catalog beforehand, so you already have like a little schedule or a planner of, I know I'm gonna get this class, this class, this class. So when it's time to register, all you have to do is have them in your cart and click enroll into those classes. So that's what I would do, and it made my life a lot easier. I could just go in, put them in my cart way before my register time. When my date happened, I had it as a reminder on my phone, and then I just click enroll when my time opened. Made it much easier and less competitive, because like I said, those classes go quickly. Make good decisions. Again, I recommend looking at the catalog beforehand, reading class descriptions, looking up your professor on Rate My Professor, so you can see if the professor's a good professor, because I can tell you that will make a lot of difference whether your professor is actually good or not. So you want to do some background research on your class, and then check those emails. Again, emails are key. You need to see date, time, and all that for when it's your time frame. All right, now this is housing and living on campus. So if you're living off campus, not for you, but if you are going to be living on campus, this is for you. You must apply to live on campus. So there is an application for this as well. It's just about an application for everything, but make sure you apply. Sometimes there may be a housing deposit. It varies by institution. You can go ahead and, for some schools that I know of, you can, if you have a preference for where you want to live and who you want to live with, they'll allow that, or at least they'll have some type of portal where you can put a little description of yourself, and then they'll have other students who are coming in who put descriptions of themselves, and if y'all have similar descriptions and what y'all want in a roommate, they can match all up together if you don't have like any friends that are coming up there with you. Community colleges do not offer housing, so you wouldn't have to worry about this step at all. But I would say, if you weren't planning to stay home, you definitely need to make sure you got your living arrangements or whatever in place, because they do not have on-campus housing for community college. Just some items to bring, suggestions, not requirements, are towels, sheets, pillows, and blankets, because they do not provide these things for you in a college dorm or college apartment. Shower caddy, shower shoes, desk lamp, laptop, and storage containers. So if you're living off campus, like say you're staying home or you're deciding to get an off-campus apartment, make sure you purchase a parking pass if you're planning on driving. If you're living in like a college town or just a town where they have those, if you go to a college where they have those shuttles available and you know that they come by your apartment complex, that's absolutely fine. You wouldn't have to worry about the parking pass, for the school. You could just ride the shuttle, but make sure you know what those options are. Don't just assume, oh, they'll come and get me, and you didn't do any research. You have to research, ask the school if you need to about their transit options, so that you can get the class, and then see their schedule as well, because you need to make sure you get the class on time. See how long the commute is and account for traffic. So that's what I was just saying. Park and ride options if the university has it, because that can definitely offset cost. And then just be strategic. So if you know your class is starting at 8 a.m., you do not want to get on a bus that takes you to campus at 8 a.m. You're going to have to get up there. I can't say, each school may be different depending on traffic, depending on the city, how long in advance you have to prepare to get on that bus or that transit method. So just make sure, sometimes they have apps. I would say when I was at Carolina, they had like P2P, and then they had like a little Connect Carolina app where I could track other transit options, and I could see how far away they were and stuff like that. So if you're going to a campus and they have like little mobile apps where you can track the bus ride options, you can track the schedule that way as well. And then make it a point to be social, stay engaged on campus. You don't want to just go to class and go home. College is supposed to be more about more than academics, y'all. You want to get a good experience. You want to network. You want to make those connections. So try to make the most of it. And then just a reiteration on dorm and class supplies. So mini fridge, maybe it'd be something good if you're living on campus. Shower supplies, laundry items, reading lamp, ATM or a check card, credit card. Class supplies, laptop for sure. A laptop is really essential these days, y'all. So that is something worth investing in if you don't have one, or applying for laptop scholarships if you see any of those options. Flash drive, if you are going to be having those assignments and stuff like that. I know a lot of stuff is digital now where you can just back it up on a OneDrive or whatever, Google Drive. That works as well. But, you know, if you're old school, get your USB flash drive. They're not very expensive. You'll require books and materials like binders, notepads, pens. You go to Carolina, Scantrons, need those, blue books, stuff like that. Okay, and then just a few additional documents and things that you need to do before actually going to campus or starting college in August. Final transcripts. So any college you go to, community college, university, wherever, they are going to need a final transcript from you before you are able to attend their institution. So make sure that you get that sent out from your high school. I know with my school, we send our seniors an exits form at the end of the year. And on there, we request all of our seniors to indicate where they want us to send that final transcript. And we just send them all in one fell swoop. So if your high school has something like that, then you're good. If not, just make sure those transcripts get to that college that you are planning to attend. This also includes college transcripts, y'all. So I know some students forget about this, but if you are duly enrolled, they are going to want a copy of your college transcript from GTCC or wherever you're duly enrolled at, as well as that high school transcript. If they don't get your college transcript, it may be some incomplete stuff there, and it may, kind of halt the process with you being able to actually go, because they do need that. And then if you are in like AP or IB courses and you made a 3 or better on your AP or IB exams, I'm not an IB school, so I don't know how their scale works, but I know for AP, if it's 3 or better, that's college credit. You can go ahead and send that over to the institution just by going through collegeboard.org and indicating what college you want to send your score to, and they'll kind of ask college credit. Immunization records are also something important. Universities do require that as well. So make sure you just go to the health department or to your primary care provider and get those immunization records, like a copy of it, or just get it sent over to the college itself from your primary care provider. Proof of health insurance is also required for four-year universities. Community college does not require health insurance. But again, if you are going to a 4-year, they require it. If you do not have your own and can't waive that, then you will have to purchase theirs. Check your college email account every day. That's all I have to say about that. Just check it. It is essential. Okay, and one little last thing, just to go over this little student enrollment checklist, which you can pretty much find everything I talked about today on there. If your college has a student enrollment checklist, you can usually go to their website and find it, or just Google it. And this is just an example of Carolina's. So it just tells you right there, again, in a nutshell, what I just said. So staying up to date on your age, sharing important details. You can scroll down a bit. Enrolling by May 1st. And they also put the links, which I love. They put the little quick links so you can know where to do everything at. And then you can scroll down a bit more. After you enroll, they tell you the important next steps, and they give you the dates where you need to do everything by. So most colleges have this. So if you can honestly Google it, like what college you're going to, NCANT college newly admitted student checklist or something like that. And they'll give you a checklist with the dates and everything where you need to do all of that stuff by. So make sure you check those out. They're really handy. Okay, and another reiteration, please check your emails every day, y'all. Do not bypass those emails. They are important. So just check those.
Thank you, Desire. So as we transition, those are just some logistical things that you need to do in order to get ready for college as you transition. But I will really want to emphasize that going to college is a change and a very big transition from going to high school. And so it's also important that you also adjust your mentality and have a college ready mentality. And so this focuses on students developing life skills. So think you may hear it called adulting. We often call it adulting, but just things about setting goals, being able to be intentional about making your own decisions, because you are going to be navigating a new environment, whether you are still staying at home and going to campus or going to a local community college, you are still going to be in transition. So just making sure that you are making that transition mentally as well, as you transition into the summer and prepare for the fall. And so one of those things, so we're going to go over a few tips that help you do those things. And so number one being time management. And so as we all know, as you probably heard your teachers, everyone tell you, no one is going to babysit you in college. Like, you're going to be responsible for balancing all the things you do. So Desire mentioned some opportunities on campus to work, such as work study. So you may have a work study job, you may be involved in a club or a sport or organization, but you're still going to be responsible for doing your work, and no one is going to be sort of badgering you about that. So it's important that you have time management, but also stay organized in that process and manage your time wisely, but knowing what's best for you. And so moving on, as you continue to set goals, not only, you all have probably heard this before, but making sure that your goals are smart. So thinking about goals, not only that are specific, but that you can measure. So do I want this to be a short-term goal? Does it need to be a 1-year goal? Is it my 4-year goal to graduate with a bachelor's degree in biology? But also, is it attainable? So is it realistic? Also, is it timely? Does it align with the time frame? So for example, I wouldn't say that I want to be a doctor and it's only going to take me 2 years, because that is not realistic nor timely, because I cannot physically do that. It's not attainable. So just ensure that as you're setting your goals, you're being realistic, but also making sure that you measure your goals along the way, and that you're specific about what goals and what things that you want to achieve. Also, just as you continue to navigate college and navigate these new environments, and even the process of getting to college, knowing when to ask for help. As a student who was very much so a high flyer in high school, when I got to college, I just realized that there was not a manual or a textbook for everything. So there's not a manual to tell you that, hey, maybe you need to go to tutoring. And so just knowing when to ask for help, and ensuring that you're asking for that help to ensure that you don't get too far behind, or if you're not understanding something. Because as you can imagine, we're going to be coming from all different places, people all over the nation coming to various colleges, and knowing when to ask for help is important, because you will be challenged, whether it's in your courses, whether it's just simply knowing where do I go to the dining hall at. So being able to ask for help, and just that vulnerability and understanding that you aren't the only one that's going through this transition. And I'll turn it over to Warshay to go over some other tips and tools that can help you adjust your college ready mentality.
All right. Well, it's very important to be proactive as opposed to reactive. And this is a great example. Before you even have the difficulty, let's say you're taking chemistry or biology, before you even get to that final exam or that particular test, you already know where, if you're struggling in it or something, go ahead and seek out the Student Success Center or the Academics Resource Center that can help guide you along the way. And there are many areas that you really feel comfortable in that you will be proactive in, right? But there will be other areas that sometimes as college students, you may feel that you are being reactive. So it's very important to understand that you have to be proactive when it comes down to shifting in that college ready mentality. This also applies to applying for scholarships, applying for aid. You know, it is so easy to be reactive after the fact, realizing, man, I should have applied for this, that, and the other. Now is a great time to continue to be proactive on all those areas. The next area we're going to talk about is using the resources available. There is an amalgamation of resources at your disposal, not just with Say Yes Guilford, but with College Foundation of North Carolina, your college advisors, and even your guidance counselor. Utilize your resources even now as a high school student, because you can benefit in so many ways. But let's fast forward to when you are in college. There are resources such as the Counseling Center, the Academic Enhancement Center, or the Tutoring Center, or whatever the case may be, or the Writing Center. Utilize the resources available to you on your various college campuses and get familiarized with it even now. There's no harm in Googling or even at orientation, learning and knowing those resources that are available to you at your disposal. There are so many things I could have mentioned here, like campus health services, the recreational facilities, so on and so forth. So you have those resources as well. And, create a routine that works for you. Know yourself. If you are not a morning person, do not sign up or register for an 8 a.m. class when you're in college, if you can help it. So you want to be mindful of that. Don't schedule those things that are not going to be beneficial for you at that particular time. Whereas you want to also understand your deadlines. Know the routines that work for you. Know when you have high energy levels. Like sometimes you may have higher energy in the morning. So that means you can tackle more rigorous coursework in the morning as opposed to the evening. So just know your routines and know what works best for you as far as when your schedule is to eat. Because in high school you have a particular time frame where you have to go to lunch, right? But in college, it is more free spirited. You get to decide these things on your own. So know your routine, because when you go to college, your parent or your guardian is not going to be there, if you live it on campus, to barge in your room and wake you up. They're not going to be your alarm clock unless they call you. You have to have some self advocacy for yourself as you go through this college process. And that is part of being college ready. And we want to ensure that you're college ready. And then I guess tips and tricks. So always reflect on your short and long-term goals and how they're being impacted by your current behavior. Your attitude still determines your altitude. We always say that. Get a planner or an organizer. You may have an agenda now, or I have my smartphone, my calendar, everything that you can think of is organized on my device and is synchronized. Join student organizations. It is okay to be involved, but don't be overly involved when you start college. You want to have a delicate balance of your engagement in your academics, but also in your extracurricular activities as well. So that's very important. Become familiar with and use campus resources. I think I just mentioned this, but campus resources and services include, but not limited to, counseling. Oh, I just spotlighted myself. Counseling, health, and tutoring. Okay, there are many more services available as well. Be professional. Be professional, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Everyone doesn't know every single thing. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to go to your professor during office hours, or to email your professor to express your concern or your ability or your inability at that moment to know something. Don't be afraid to ask for help and seek out resources. That is how you're going to be successful. And understand, this is a process. There is no straight way to success. Some people have various ways to success. It may be zigzag, it may be different, but just understand, as you are on your pathway, it is a process and you will be successful. Of course, there's more that we can add, but at this time, I think we're ready to have a Q&A session. Are there any people out there that have questions for Desire, Brandy, or myself? No questions tonight, huh?
Yes, excuse me, I have a question.
Okay.
I think the first speaker, was it Desire, mentioned something about being marked for FAFSA verification. What does that mean exactly? What is that process? It's the first time I've heard about that.
Yes. So verification is just another layer or another step that FAFSA and the colleges use just to verify that what you indicated on that FAFSA application is true. So typically one way where you can easily pretty much get over that step, and it's not 100% because sometimes they find their way through it, but the quickest way where I tell my students to do is just make sure you have your parents transfer their tax information through the IRS, and that's directly in that FAFSA application where it says link to IRS. that is just one way where they can just quickly verify that that tax information is true because it's coming directly from the IRS. So that's what they have on file for you. So where I usually see a lot of students get flagged for verification is because they didn't use the IRS data retrieval tool. And so what the institution typically will need is a copy of that tax transcript. Or on the other hand, some of my students do end up getting flagged for verification for the student tax information section, even if they didn't work. And if the student didn't work, it's simple. The verification for them will just be indicating usually through the college that they didn't work. So to know if you were flagged for verification or not, you would just log into your, or the student would log into their FAFSA, look at their student aid report. This is just scrolling down to the bottom, clicking on that first link that says view student aid report or SAR. And if your EFC at the very top of that student aid report, if it has a star next to it, you were flagged for verification. Now, I will say I have seen where students who were not selected for verification on their FAFSA application, and you know, they were thinking, okay, I don't have verification. They logged into their college account, and some of their college accounts did ask for additional information based on what their FAFSA was. Not every college did, so I would say it's up to the college sometimes too to flag you for verification, because I've seen it and I'm like, that is weird because you were not selected for verification through FAFSA, because I can usually see it on my end for student who was selected and who was not. But sometimes, and like I said, it's up to college because they do have the right to ask for whatever additional documentation they want before they give you any money, and they will do it. They will sit there and say, well, hey, we just want another copy of your tax transcripts, or hey, we want you to fill out this form for our institution separately and indicate what your household size is, income is, and everything like that. So that is where it's important to check your emails, students, because this won't come to parents. Students need to check their emails. Students need to check their college accounts and go ahead and activate them, because sometimes the school will just put it directly in their college account, and then lo and behold, they're like, well, I don't have a package. You have verification documents you need to turn in. So that's essentially what it is. I know it sounds like a lot, but honestly, the biggest thing is to really see about it. Log into your FAFSA, download that student aid report. If you see a star, you got flagged for verification. Another way, if you didn't get flagged for verification that way, log into your college account directly. They'll let you know if they need something from you or not before you can get your money. And that's basically what it is in a nutshell.
Yeah. Someone
Okay,
asked,
thanks so much.
Someone asked, how do I find information about scholarships? And I just put it in the chat, but you can go to the financial aid website of that particular college or university and search scholarships. Typically, there's a list of scholarships that are directly related to that university. You also have scholarships.com, fastweb.com, cfnc.org, the College Foundation of North Carolina. You also have your local guidance counselor or college advisor, whereby they may know of some local scholarships and resources that your student could apply for. In addition to the Say Yes Guilford Scholarship Program, we do encourage every Guilford County School student to apply for the Say Yes Guilford Scholarship Program. And more information is on our website. That deadline is June the 1st as well. Are there any more questions that we have, like at least 5 more minutes to answer more questions? If there's any more questions. Well, if not, we have the remaining of the college kickoff series for April 2021. The next one is next Thursday, College and Career Ready. And you can learn tips on how to ensure you are college and career ready and strategies to build your resume and a strong college essay. And then on April 29th is Cash for College. Simply put, Cash for College. And that's when we'll be talking more about scholarships, you know, and the strategy students can use to gain additional scholarship dollars. So are there any more questions? I'm going to put that link in the chat so everyone can register. And please feel free to share this with the masses. I'm also going to put in the Say Yes Guilford Scholarship criteria in the chat box as well, just in case someone is interested in knowing more about the scholarship process. And this video and all of our previous recordings located on our YouTube page. You can just type in Say Yes Guilford and you'll see all the previously recorded webinars. All right. Anything else you want to add, Desire? I don't think there's any more questions. You did such a great job that no one has questions. Both of you and Brandy.
Yes, I have nothing else to add. That was everything I got.
All right. Well, without further ado, you all have a great evening, and thank you for tuning in to this college kickoff series. We'll see you next time. Good night. Bye-bye.